This episode of Gabba Gabba Hunt Talks is sponsored by Hobo Wolfman Records. Hobo Wolfman Records is home to local bands The Fill-Ins, The Body Bags, and Home for the Day. But check out all the stuff they have on their webpage, including some kick-ass new hats and shirts. Check them out at hobowolfmanrecords.com. You are now listening to the Gabba Gabba Hunt Talks podcast, where we bring you conversations with people connected to the Carolinas underground music scene. Your host, Mike Phillips of Van Huskins. Hey, what's up?
There we go.
All right. Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'm working on getting my levels over here.
I'm just so thrilled that there doesn't really seem to be a lag.
Yeah. If that does end up happening any at all here.
This one's not.
I was gonna say if there is like any kind of space or anything,
Actually,
I do some editing and I cut all that out. But
I was gonna say it does actually seem like something, so I hate it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things, like we're working with these, Skype interviews or Zoom or whatever. It's really handy in certain ways, but the technology is not perfect, and there's going to be some buggy times where the audio cuts out, or where there's a little bit of a delay. We talk over each other a little bit. But man, they're so much easier to edit because I can really work with like your voice and my voice completely independently.
That's cool. Do you so you've got us on separate channels or whatever? So if it's like a 3-second lag, you'll figure it out.
Yep, exactly. Either that, or like I said, I'll just cut out seconds. Whenever I edit, I cut out a bunch of silent or dead space anyway. So you have a good day?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Went over to my girlfriend's gonna be moving in my house. Me and my girlfriend are having a baby.
Yeah. Okay.
So she's gonna be moving into my house.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks. She lives in a townhouse, which is like my house. So while she's been at work, she's a teacher over cleaning. And then I made chicken marsala.
Yeah.
And walked the dogs, and she went to bed, and now I'm here with you.
Yeah. And this is getting kind of very laggy. So if it's taking me a while to respond to you, that's why.
Yeah. Do you want? Is there a solution?
I'm trying to think. When this has happened before in the past, sometimes we've just done with audio. Sometimes we tried a different program altogether. Instead of like Zoom, we use Skype or Facebook Messenger.
I'm familiar. I've used Facebook Messenger before. Or if you want to try that.
Yeah, let's try that real quick, because this is pretty bad. And if that's just as bad, then we'll figure something out. I mean, like I can work with it, but it'll make it easier. So I'll go ahead and end this.
Yeah.
And then
okay.
I'll like start like a video chat with you there in just a minute.
Okay, sounds good. I'll wait.
Okay, yeah, hold on a second. I gotta fix my audio. Okay,
Which is fine.
well, I didn't hear anything you just said.
That's fine. You're no longer on my headphones, so
Okay.
the lag seems less.
Yeah, already it seems better. All right, cool. We'll roll with this, and if it starts to get laggy, we'll work with it. This seems better already.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm talking to Patrick North from Longshot Odds, and you guys are a Columbia, South Carolina band, correct?
We are.
Are you originally from Columbia, or?
I am not.
Okay, where are you originally from?
I'm was born in Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
Lived up in that kind of neck of New York up until about my freshman year in high school, and then I moved a little more south in New York, near the Pennsylvania border, in a city called Binghamton.
Yeah.
And this is where Rod Serling's from the Twilight Zone.
Okay.
That's about our.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, Binghamton's it's a shithole. I love it, but it's a shithole.
When did you move to Columbia?
I moved to South Florida before moving here for a few years.
About what age did you play? Well, I guess what I'm getting at is when you lived up there, did you ever play any bands, or were you into music at that time?
I was into music, but I never really got beyond the getting a bunch of friends together, naming a band, and getting stoned, and just like not playing music.
So something we pretty much
we
all
never
been
really
through.
got beyond that phase. Actually, one of those bands that we never really were in is actually the name of this album that we just came out with. So Far to Go was like some name of some like post. It was like our post emo band that we wanted to have, but we never did it. So I remember it was called So Far to Go, and I was always like, that was a good name, for something.
Well, it works for an album title too. So
20 years later, I'm like, all right, stolen.
Cool. We'll talk about that album in a little bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So after you were up north, then you moved to Florida. When you were in Florida, did you get involved in music at all, or was that not until you came to Columbia?
No, it was really hard in Florida. I was in West Palm. Like, I don't know, nobody's interested in doing anything down there, it seems like. Like, I definitely had some friends that I got together with and played music, but we were making some, like, real off-the-wall, like, Mars Volta-y type, just, like, ambient noise rock kind of stuff. It was great, but, like, there's nothing, we were just fucking just getting lit and making music.
Making music, yeah.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid, what's, like, one of your earliest musical memories, the thing that, like, sort of drew you into music?
So it really breaks down to when my move between the Syracuse area, it was this little town called Mexico, New York, down to Binghamton area. Mm-hmm. My 9th grade earth science teacher lost my state final.
So your final exam was nowhere to be found?
Oh, no, like, she administered the test. She knows, like, she calls me, like, crying. Because she knew I took the test. She knew I handed it in. Mm-hmm. She knew she lost it. She was like, I was in the dumpster looking for this test, and I just moved 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
And this lady, like, drove 2.5 hours to tutor me, because I had to take the test again. It was basically, she had to mark me, like, in order for her not to get fired.
Oh, wow.
Basically. Yeah. She had to mark me down to fail, and I had to take summer school. It was that year, my sister made me a mixtape, and it had, like, some, like, punk ska stuff, like Less Than Jake on it. It was probably, like, 99. Yeah, it was like this. It was the summer of 99. Hmm. And my sister made me, like, a mixtape. Before that, I was listening to radio rock, like Bush, and I knew what Blink-182 was in Green Day, and I was familiar with that stuff. But, the next step for me was a little more, was like the Less Than Jake and the Save Ferris and Real Big Fish, because I was a band kid. I was playing trombone.
Okay, yeah. I played trombone for like a year and a half.
But I was just hitting high school when third wave ska was, like, taking over. So, what a good time to be playing trombone. It was like, oh, this might be cool. This, that didn't work out, but that was my first kind of that punk ska thing, and I really enjoyed that feeling of things. Like, I think that was that Less Than Jake album, the first song. It was like, last one out of Liberty City, burn it to the ground, and then it was like, it starts with a fast riff. And I was like, all right. And I could dig the energy. So that mixtape from my sister.
Yeah, that's what set it off.
Yeah, she was really into Spice Girls at the time, I think.
Okay. But, like, so when I started playing in band and I got assigned to play trombone, I was, like, really disappointed. My dad's like, well, you can play because I thought, I wanted to play saxophone, because you can play in a rock band and play a saxophone. But then my dad's like, he's like, you can play trombone in a rock band. I'm like, no, you can't. And he was thinking about some older bands and stuff. But, little did I know that ska would come along, or rebirth of ska.
You can play flute. You can play flute in a metal band. It's cool, Jethro Tull.
But, I didn't stick with it anyway, so it doesn't matter. I never got that good at it.
Kellen, our bassist in Longshot Odds, he actually kind of similarly, he played trumpet in high school. Yeah. So on this last album, we actually, like, it's not, like, super loud in the mix, but we both pulled out our trombone and trumpet. And we threw some of that in there.
Yeah. So you moved to Florida now, and you said you sort of played music there. What area of Florida did you live in?
Out West Palm.
So was there a music scene down there? Did you start going out to shows a lot?
There wasn't, but, like, that's, like, high money. Like, people are not interested in the punk scene. Yeah. There at all. It was that more, like, scene core thing that people were doing, and that just never did it for me. Yeah, yeah. And I went to a show. It was a bigwig booked some show down in some small venue down there. Okay. And the band opened up for him, and it, like, fucking changed my shit. Like, Valiant Thor. Yeah. Dude, I saw them in, like, it was like 2003 or something like that. And this guy's got us down on our knees, and he's like, making us say chants to Venus, the gods, and I don't know, but this dude's like that dude could be the greatest cult leader. Yeah. His stuff was great, but the riffs and the music and the energy and their denim jackets and their throwing guitars back across the stage, and it was rock and roll, and it was just exciting, and that shit
Yeah, we played with them a couple of years ago, and they're really good. I think they're originally from North Carolina, but he lives in
Yeah, I think they're from Asheville.
he lives in Virginia now, I believe.
Or Venus or something. Alloy. No, but those guys are so that music is so rad. It's just that AC/DC on speed shit.
Mm-hmm. I love that kind of stuff.
But then, basically, what happened is Florida sucks.
Yeah.
And my parents moved here to Columbia, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And they were basically just one day, they're like, "Do you want to move here?" And I go, I don't know. They were like, "We'll pay for half your U-Haul."
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, fine, fucking deal." So, so I split the U-Haul with my parents and loaded up all my stuff and left my 1996 Saturn to a kidney car and just drove a U-Haul up to Columbia, South Carolina, and met a dude on MySpace named Tyler, and we started this band called You, Me, and Us. Like, he lived in Columbia, and I just found him on MySpace Classified, and I forget what the classified ad was, and it was like a bunch of 90s bands, but then he like mentioned like Bad Religion.
Yeah.
It's like one of the, he's like, I don't know, I just want to be in a band. It was like it was a classified ad. He's like, I want to be in a band, and I wanted to, sound like, and I don't know, I forget something, like Third Eye Blind. Like, he just listed like 5 or 6 different bands that he liked.
Yeah.
And one of them was like Bad Religion. And that was like really the only band on the list that I was into.
Yeah.
But I was like, all right, I can work with that. I've always liked writing songs, but I've never played with anyone up until 2007. And at that point, I'm already 24.
Yeah.
And so, we started this band called we called it You, Me, and Us.
Mm-hmm.
It was You, Me, and Uncle Sam originally, but we just shortened it to You, Me, and Us to get better on the flyer.
Yeah.
You, Me, and Uncle Sam being the Stripes reference.
Yeah.
When I've been pushed off a cliff and down a landslide, when I'm sorry for your bad times, did you forget the happiness and sunshine? 'Cause it's been pushed away from dark days and decline. You packed your shit, now you're gone. You roll away like the bomb. You easily moved along. Please will always have the song. So fuck this shit, I'm fucking out of here. It's gonna be a really long fucking off year. When some would say you left the thing too soon. It's gonna be a long, cold fucking winter. Failed to remain, I failed to deliver. When someday you will get what you deserve. When I've been hung up to
And so we did a lot of like political punk rock stuff.
Yeah.
Tyler was living with his grandmother at the time, and his upstairs neighbor was like, he could hear him pounding on drums. So he's like, all right, hey, I met this guy. He's gonna just come and play with us and play some of these songs. And me and Tyler just worked out together.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Corey, who's our drummer, who's still the drummer in Longshot Odds. And he just kind of like showed up. I moved here August 3rd, 2007. I think August 5th, me and Tyler started playing music, and by early October, Corey started joining practices.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was kind of a thing up until 2015.
So were you playing keyboards in this band as well?
No. I was doing all the bass.
Okay.
Basically, I mean, it was the same shtick, basically. Fast, loud.
Yeah, I've heard a little bit of it. I think I found it. I can't remember where I found it when I interviewed Tiff Tantrum, because she talked about you guys, and I played one of your songs in that because it was a good time to play a song, and I was like, okay, I can play somebody else besides Tiff's band.
Yeah, no, that I actually was listening to that. I was like, oh shit, that was a fun moment for my ego.
Yeah. Well, I like to do that, especially with some of these episodes where maybe the person's been in a lot of bands, but we sometimes like. If I go too long with the talking, I'm like, I need to split it up with some music. And if they just mention another band, it's like, okay, well, that's a good time to play somebody else from the area that we can help promote as well. Even if it's from somebody from the past, because one of my goals with this podcast is to like make sure people don't forget about the stuff from the past, because so many people already have forgotten about bands that broke up like just 2 years ago, much less 15 years ago.
Yeah. So the much more exciting stuff, because all that shit kind of, I don't know, all that part of my history fucking blows. It was zero fun up until Mrs. Lockhart lost my earth science test.
Yeah.
So fuck this shit, I'm fucking out of here. It's gonna be a really long fucking awful year. When some will say you left a bit too soon. It's gonna be a long, cold fucking winter. Fail to remain, I fail to deliver. When some say you will get what you deserve. Fuck.
Like, no, and I was thinking about it earlier, because I was like, oh shit, he's gonna ask me about some of this stuff. And I was like, that's really that was the moment.
Yeah.
Because it made me go to summer school, and the way summer school worked in my school district, it was like these 4 different high schools. Basically, they put their summer schools together, and they just alternated what school it was at every year.
Yeah.
Like, so, every 4 years, one high school had summer school there.
Yeah.
And I just remember, so there's a bunch of kids that you didn't go to high school with, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, I don't know anyone, because I didn't even know anyone from my own high school, let alone, because I just moved to the city.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I didn't even get to go to school before I was at summer school. So I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, I'm doodling, like, Real Big Fish's logo or Mighty Mighty Boss Tones and shit like that on my notebook, and some other kid saw it, and then there's these other kids that were like the stereotypical movie bullies, because they were like screaming like "skate or die" at us, and shit like that. And I was just like, oh, like we're getting bullied for liking skacore. I don't know. So I didn't even know at this point in my life that there was like local bands that played like gigs like that, and they invited me to what I think just needs to start happening again was these old like American Legion house shows, and all ages, Legion Hut, drink in the parking lot, try not to trash the venue so they let you keep having shows there, and shitty sound, but everything's good, tons of kids always, all ages, $5,
exactly.
And so we started going to these shows, and after a while I started I think I'm like 15 or 16 at the point, and so I started setting up some of these shows. I remember I set up my first show. I had to have my dad come down and sign the contract for like the Legion Hut. I think it was like, it cost me like $350 to actually just book the Legion Hut for the show. Then I had to pay somebody for sound, but at the end of the day, we still made like, I don't know, like 300 kids still came out. So it was like that clearly needs to be a thing.
Yeah. We did one here in my little small town, and we were part of several of those shows back in the early 90s. But we did one here, and for a small town, we had a pretty decent crowd show up too. We probably ended up having, throughout the day, about 100 kids come through. But I don't remember. Yeah. I've still got the contract somewhere, so I have to look at it and see how much we paid for the place. But
yeah, I thought I had the contract. I have like this album with a bunch of flyers I was kind of thumbing through a little bit earlier. Just like, oh yeah, that was a thing that happened.
Yeah. We do need to kind of get back to that and do some more of that kind of stuff, because I know,
like, at the end of the day, we're like, you play in a band, I play in a band, but we're also like, 30s, 40s, and I know some people in bands, punk bands, 50s and stuff like that, switching 60. And it's like we're all just like hanging out at bars, like circle jerking off each other at 10 o'clock, talking about how cool we are. And it's like, no, we need to be playing shows that start at like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And there's like, you have like a bunch of high school bands opening for you, because that's who goes to shows.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I kind of thought a lot in the past few years, where are the kids at? Where are the kids at? But apparently the kids are going to house shows.
The kids aren't going to bars at 10 o'clock.
Yeah. They're going to house shows and seeing bands play, in somebody's basement or whatever.
Yeah. Is that what you did when you were a kid?
Yeah. So until I found the milestone, but once I was found the milestone, that was like, and it was 18 and up. So once I was 18, I was there all the time, every weekend.
And every city's got their all ages venues, and in playing not all ages venues is good too, because sometimes you don't want the kids around, but but for the most part, like, the kids are the ones with the energy, and that's the part that makes it fun.
So I think, especially like on the other side of all of this COVID stuff, that might be one of our better options anyway. I mean, there might not be as many places left. I mean, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we're not going to lose too many venues, but reality is, if this goes on for several more months and they can't do shows, or not many shows, and a lot of these places won't end up surviving, unfortunately.
Yeah, have you guys been playing any shows?
No, we haven't. We're just taking time off. I don't anticipate playing until next year. Just because North Carolina has been a little bit more strict about some things.
Yeah.
So there's really nowhere. Well, there he is. Freeman's is doing shows now, but I've already told Brad that I'll let him know when we're ready. But we're just we're taking this as a break to write new music and then see what's happening next year.
Yeah, we've been playing some sparse shows, but a few of them been outside. And then we've been playing at Return to Zero down there. It's Todd from the 33s.
Okay.
Insert 33s here.
Yeah.
Go!
Todd from the 33s, he owns a studio down in Charleston, and he has some small shows there. It's kind of a hidden location. If you click the map direction on the Facebook link, you're not going to find it.
Yeah.
But it has been fun. We're doing something there on Halloween.
Yeah, I saw that with Brandy and the Butcher and
and Soda City Riot and the 33s.
Yeah. So how's turnout for the shows down there right now?
We played down there a few weeks ago, and it was about as full as it felt about as full as I wanted it to be.
I was gonna say. I mean, we play so many shows where like 15 people show up anyway. So
yeah, and that's why like when this first started coming out, I was like, oh, punk rock shows are still safe though, right?
Yep, pretty much. Especially at bars. I don't know about the house shows, but we'll find out about that, I guess, sometime down the road. Because there's like a band from Charlotte called Mutant Strain, and they played Milestone a couple of times, but apparently they play house shows all the time. I want to hook up with them and try to play some shows and do some stuff like that. I don't know if I'll rent the Armory here in Kings Mountain again.
Sometimes I feel like I'm not cool enough to hang out with those kids.
Well, there's that too. I'm also kind of a little bit like, I don't want to be the old dude hanging out with the kids, but I mean, as long as they're cool, some older people playing.
Not even age-wise, I just feel like those kids are way cooler than me.
Yeah, that's
they can smell me not being cool from a mile away.
Yeah, because I've given up on being cool. I don't even really try anymore. It's just like I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I think I'm cool. That's all that matters.
You got a podcast? That's pretty cool. How many people listen to you a week, man? That's pretty cool.
I'd say there's about roughly 70 dedicated listeners that listen to pretty much every episode.
You got more people listening to you than I do, I think.
Yeah, and then like there's some episodes that do 140, 150, I think 160 is the most for an interview episode.
That's pretty cool.
I also don't know, because I think that counts like at least 1 minute of listening as a listen. So I don't know how many people actually listen to the whole thing. I'd like to know that.
Yeah, I bet that last one you did got a pretty good listen.
The Jeff Clayton one was very well listened to.
Yeah,
that was performed really well. Flight Risk did really well. The one I just released yesterday has done pretty well already with Jeff Williams. They all perform pretty well. Every now and then I'll have one like my Brandy and the Butcher episode. For some reason, didn't perform that well, and I'm not sure where. Honestly, most of my listeners I think are in Charlotte, so they're not quite familiar with Brandy and the Butcher, even though they played here once. They haven't, maybe more than once.
Well, it's really weird because I don't know what algorithms you look at, because I like looking at numbers too. Like Spotify's got a good app for artists to look at your numbers, and it's always so weird to me ever since we've been on Spotify for the last, I think, 3 years since I put us on Spotify. Charlotte's always like our number one city.
Yeah.
We played one show in Charlotte in the last 3 years. Like nobody ever asked us to play shows there. Like people are listening to us. It's always our number one city, but nobody ever asks us to play there.
Well, there's a good scene in Charlotte. I mean, as far as there's a lot of people.
I remember from the You, Me, and Us days. We used to play those punk rock. We played the first punk rock picnic.
Yeah, those
were fun shows.
Yeah, we haven't played one of those yet. We were going to play this year, but that kind of fell through. So, we'll see what happens there next year.
I don't even know where we're supposed to be this year. It used to be at what was it? Milestone, right?
Well, I think they had it at Tremont a few years. I don't know if they.
Tremont, Tremont. I get Tremont and Milestone confused.
Yeah, they had it at Tremont.
I know they're starkly different, everyone.
Last year they did it at Canvas Tattoo, which it's a tattoo place in North Davidson, or on North Davidson, and they've got like a fenced-in back area with a stage and a big lot. I mean, it's a pretty nice setup out there. So.
Yeah. The last time, other than when we played with y'all, the last time that we played Charlotte before that was like it was a punk rock picnic with No Anger Control and Pleasures of the Ultra Violent.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
their band.
from Asheville, yeah.
Those guys are rad.
We were supposed to play with them one time too, and they broke up. But I think they're back together now. But they broke up like the day of the show.
We played with them down in Charleston like maybe a year ago.
Yeah,
maybe a little longer than that. I was super stoked because I thought they broke up too, and then Rick Burke, who does all these really great shows with Geared For Productions down there, he had set something up, and I was just super stoked to play with him. I wore my T-shirt.
Yeah, I was pretty excited to play with them too. And then the day of the show, we got a message from Buck saying, "Hey, they broke up, so you guys will be headlining." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck." But this is like 3 years ago, and I guess like I said, I heard not too long after that they got back together.
Bands do like to break up.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
I don't know. I'm too lazy. We kind of all kind of like each other, so we're not really that worried about it.
Yeah, that's with us. I mean, we're two of our members are brothers, so they love each other as much as brothers love each other. Which means they hate each other sometimes. And then me and Eric have been best friends for like 30 years now almost, and so we're like brothers. And so Ben's kind of like my brother too, and it's we all like each other, so it makes it easier. But there are times when we get pissed off at each other.
Well, before me and Corey started playing together, like right before, he was in a band. This band called Early Grace, and I guess they had broken up not too long before he started playing drums with me and Tyler, with you and me and us.
Yeah.
And their bass player is our guitar player now.
Okay.
It's a very familiar situation. And then and I was playing bass with Longshot Odds, and I just didn't want to play bass anymore.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wanted to wanted to incorporate some keyboard stuff. I wanted to get a little more, what's the word, like symphonic with it. And so I just pulled my buddy Kellen, who wasn't doing anything. He's always in these great bands. He's this great bass player. I was talking to him, I was like, "Are you playing with anyone?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Well, all right, well, just come play with us. Like, you're fucking rad, so come play bass with us." So I got like 3 dudes that are awesome, and we all like each other, and we get to play music all the time. It's great.
So how long has Longshot Odds been together now? Or how long have you been a band?
2015. Like, you, me, and us broke up in February, and me and Corey still had a lease on a shed, so we just kept playing. And by late February, JJ was playing guitar with us, so, I mean, there was really no gap between bands. All the songs that I'd written for You, Me, and Us that we didn't get a chance to record yet, that was just the first batch of recordings for Longshot Odds.
Yeah, it's always good when that works out, because you can take that and build off of it to like really kind of come into your own as a band and not necessarily do the same stuff that the previous band was doing.
Yeah, and we expanded our sound quite a bit more at that point, but which was good. Which is why we didn't just continue calling ourselves You, Me, and Us, and we decided to go with like a branding change, kind of. It's kind of like Blink-182 I mentioned earlier, like the original Dude Ranch and Treasure Cat albums. I love those albums, and I like Travis Barker, but it doesn't feel like Blink-182.
Yeah.
And I get why they didn't change their name, because they just started breaking through with like Damn It and all that stuff. But it's like you don't sound like the same band.
Yeah.
So it was just weird. And now they got the guy from Alkaline Trio, which I also love. But it's like now you definitely don't sound like the same band. You don't remember.
Yeah, that's what we did when me and Eric were in a band together called Popes on Dope, and like we met in '93, and so '93 to about '94 we were Popes on Dope. But then so Eric played drums at the time, and I played bass, and our friend Saunders played guitar. And then we decided Eric really wasn't a drummer. He just played drums because we didn't know another drummer. We didn't know a drummer. Yeah. Eric could kind of halfway play drums. But Eric decided he wanted to play guitar, and so we got my brother to come play drums because he's a good drummer. And we did that. We did this. We decided, well, we're going to change the name of the band because, we're probably going to sound different.
Yeah, you're probably going to sound radically different.
And then my brother was in the band for about a year, and he decided to quit. And we got one of my friends to play drums, and once again, we just changed the name again. It was because it's like, well, we use some of the same stuff to get started.
Well, and at that point too, it's like, what are you going to lose your 5-person fan base?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like we were huge or anything, but so we had some songs to get started, but it was like I said, kind of it's something to get us started, and then we just started writing songs together, and sort of taking it in a different direction, and each time we got better. So it was, worth the band name change because it was like, okay, we don't really want to be associated with that old stuff. We not that we weren't proud of it, but what's that?
It's good to find a drummer and just stick to it.
Yeah. Sometimes that's hard in this
area. Especially if they have a band.
Yeah, if they got a band and you're like the 5th band that they're practicing with.
No, if they have a band.
Oh, yeah, if they have a band. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But now around here, drummers don't seem to last too long in bands around here. They'll switch out quite frequently.
Corey can't quit me.
Yeah.
I don't see us giving it up anytime soon. We're just having, and it's not like nobody could listen to it, or like we enjoy listening to it, so I don't care.
Yeah. So after you got started, Longshot Odds, how long was it before you recorded something? And you've recorded, I think your newest record's coming out on River Monster, your newest album on River Monster Records, right? But you were with you've released something on Dying Scene Records before?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We recorded our first demo. It's called Game Over. Like 3 months after starting practicing together.
Yeah. Did you go in the studio or just like record on?
Yeah, we went to the jam room.
Okay. Yeah.
And did that one. We did this EP. Then 3 years later, we recorded something else in 2018, and it was the Days of Our Stripes, and it was like kind of like a little prog rock, like 3-piece movement, because I don't know, because that's what you do sometimes.
Yeah.
I think I listened to The Decline one too many times. And I was like, I want to try.
That's a good record.
It does okay.
Yeah.
But then we started going to Plow House for that Circle the Drain thing, and I'd sent it off to this website called like Dying Scene, and they were like a record review website, and I just sent it off there.
And they've reviewed us before. And
yeah, and the guy like emailed me back, and it was just like, instead of a review, could like we release your record?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that sounds cool. Like, and it definitely helped with like getting us out there, because like there's some weird like Argentinian podcast that was just playing us, which is great.
Yeah.
Like, I can't understand what I don't speak Spanish, but and we were definitely the least metal thing on his podcast. It was like a metal podcast. It's all these like super shredder dudes, and it's just like, here we are.
Yeah.
Playing some skate punk.
So with Longshot Odds, who does most of the songwriting, or is it a group effort?
Mostly me.
Okay.
Like, as far as everyone kind of writes their parts. Like JJ is. Yeah. Everyone's way better at their instrument than I am at their instrument. I'll generally write a structure, and I don't speak music, even though like I said, I played in high school. Like the language escapes me. If somebody's like, play a minor chord, I don't know what that means. So I just kind of like say things to JJ and Kellen, and they know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and they make it happen.
Yeah.
And Corey does the things that Corey does, and he does them well. And if he doesn't, I give him a frowny face. We have a chart. I got a chart. It's a star chart for band practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get frowny faces and smiley faces.
Oh man, Ben's would be filled up with frowny faces. It's a good idea though.
I'm winning right now, but I'm doing a amount of work, so it's fine.
And that's exactly how.
I'm just trying to break them morally.
Yeah.
Really.
And I was gonna say that's exactly how our band works. Like Eric pretty much writes the structure of the song, has the song ready to go, and then when he brings it to practice, we just all put our parts to it. And then from there we give input. Like Ben might say, "Hey, why don't we try this?" Or I might say, "Let's try something here."
No, I'll be like, "Let's play a solo here," and JJ will play a solo. I'll be like, "Play a better solo."
Eric does that every now and then. He'll tell Ben, "You can't play that. You got to change that." Or every now and then he'll say, "No, actually, I had this idea for the bass," and I'll do it. And he'll be like,
No, I just
and I'll do it, and then he'll be like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." And I'll be like, "All right, but then I'm going to try this," and I'll do something extra with it.
I think every band has to have that person, but you can only have one of those people.
Yeah. Because we've talked about, like, I'll write a bunch of, I'll come in there and between songs, I'm playing all kinds of riffs, and Eric and Ben will be like, "What's that?" And I'll be like, whatever, let's play one of our songs. Because I don't really want to change that dynamic. I love it.
No, there were songs like Kellen was playing some riff for the longest time in band practice, and I just pull out my phone and I pull out the little record app and I record whatever the riff that he was always playing, because I was like, "Did you write that, or is that something?" He's like, "Oh, it's just something I wrote," and that became it on the last album, which I think is one of the better songs on that album. It's just a really fun poppy riff or whatever. So I took it home and I figured out how to play it, and then I came to practice the next day. I was like, "All right, got a song. Kellen, play your thing." So he wrote a song, but he didn't really know he wrote a song.
From the valleys to the peaks of higher mountains, but we all fall along the way back to the bottom. Now I've been up and down, jump on one bottle over town. What's so sick of always pissing nights away? But I don't know just what it is. But I know you got it, kid. Once again I try again, I get curtailed. Once again I try again, I fail.
So River Monster Records is kind of becoming like one of the more prolific labels in Columbia, at least for punk rock.
Well, they're not even in Columbia. They're just in South Carolina.
From about an hour away.
Yeah, I'm not.
Diesel or something like that.
I'm not sure of the entire geography of South Carolina. I don't know exactly where he is. He exists as an enigma in a place, space and time, that is the swamps somewhere in South Carolina.
Yeah. I just know when I interviewed Brandy the Butcher, we kind of forgot to even mention River Monster Records. And I'm like, oh man, he does so much for the scene that we definitely got to talk about him and his support and how much he does. And really, I've said before, it takes a special kind of person to want to do a label and they don't play in a band themselves.
Yeah.
It's like somebody just wants to throw their money away, I guess.
It seems like it's going okay.
Yeah. He's a good guy. And like I said, the scene, you got a good scene there.
It's growing. It's growing in legitimacy, and it's really cool to be a part of. Because again, and I feel like Larry and people like Larry and Rick, those guys, they especially in South Carolina, in that Columbia to Charleston kind of core, they're kind of killing it. Yeah, and they're really doing things for bands, going above and beyond, and it's super cool.
And they do the right thing too, in that they support and promote bands, even bands they don't really work with so much too. Both of those guys do. They're all the time posting about bands that they like, and they're local bands. And it might not necessarily be somebody that's got something coming out on River Monster, or somebody that's playing a Geared For show.
Might not really be a punk rock band.
Yeah.
The local music scene, I don't know, it's changed a lot in the last decade or so. But a lot of things have changed in the last decade or so. I'm kind of hoping we come out of this with people with a hunger to go out and experience
Me too.
things.
Yeah, I really do.
And we're more fortunate in the South in the fact that we can play outdoor shows later in the year than
Yeah,
bands in New York.
yeah, it's very true.
As far as I know, it's snowing up there. Like, I grew up off Lake Ontario. It would snow almost every Halloween. So it's like 2 days from Halloween, it's probably snowing up there.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I mean, even getting people out of the house to go to an indoor show in the winter is a little bit easier around here than it probably is somewhere else, like up north.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do hope that on the other side of this, that people do have more of a desire to get off their couch and go experience something. And hopefully something is music for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you said the scene there has changed a lot over the 10 years. I'm not real familiar with the Columbia scene, or haven't been. I was a little bit in the 90s, so I don't really know in the years since then. But I know Chris Bickle's always been real active in the scene. I don't think he's not currently playing or singing in a band, not actively,
Not
I
that-
think. He's making movies these days.
Better at back for a while.
Yeah.
Jay Mathis, Andy and the Butcher.
Yep. Brett J. Matheson. And that's what I was going to say, because you said you recorded at Jam Room, so I know you guys know Jay.
Jay recorded a bunch of our stuff from You, Me, and Us up till with Longshot Odds, and Corey, our drummer Corey, got high school with Corey Plow, who had a studio, so we just kind of wanted to check it out.
Yeah.
It went very well, so kind of stuck around there.
Oh yeah, that's what with us we found somebody we like working with, and I won't say we won't record with anybody else, because we will.
Yeah.
But I'm already thinking about going to go see him again in January. It's just like that's who we're going to try to hit up every time, because we're comfortable working with him and he gets the sound we're looking for.
If their methods work well with your methods, kind of things work.
Yeah. So how was like show attendance in Columbia with pre-COVID?
We're not counting other bands and their girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
It depends on who's playing. Like
you'll have a good show every now and then in Charlotte, and there will be like 100 people out there, and I'll be like, what the hell, man? Maybe they'll keep this rolling in the next show. The next time that same band plays, 30 people.
It hasn't been that way. Like, I don't know. I used to, when I first moved here, just in order to get us shows, I started setting up shows at New Brooklyn Tavern.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that Mike gave me the last Sunday of every month.
Yeah.
That I could just do whatever I wanted with. And I just would bring down, I was always the Not Likelies.
Mm-hmm.
Rogue Nations, Chris Piegler,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I miss him.
Like, fuck Randy Savage, IED, like there's a lot of Charlotte bands that we used to bring down.
Yeah.
And then a lot of, like, bands from Augusta, like Sick Sick Sick.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have these shows, and it would be every month, and the attendance would be 110 people through the door.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. And then I stopped kind of doing that, and because I got kind of burnt out, and I was working a lot, and then it got harder to book shows.
Yeah.
Back then, it was like the Columbia scene was like, it was like us and Murder Media, and I feel like those were the only two like punk bands that were even around at the time.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the scene kind of split in that era between like the crust punk and I'll put us on the pop punk side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there was a little split there between the kind of artier punk rock and the kind of song structure punk rock.
Well, hark, who goes there? I won't let you in. And I won't make those same mistakes again. Identify yourself as foe or friend. When I've been building up these walls for so long, I can't seem to see the difference. Well, these last few years have been a struggle, baby. And this broken house was once a home. When I should lower my defenses, maybe. When I don't know. When the struggle's real and really all I know. afraid to let go of your failure. Just cut the shit and drop the act. I'm stepping out this time, will work, I feel it. Baby, I'm back. When the struggle's real and really all I know. Now all I have is time to waste and lose control. If I go crawling up the walls, please reel me in. I wanna feel like I'm at home where I'm living. When I can only lose for so long before I win. But you'll just have to pick a good spot and dive in.
With Longshot Odds, what are some of the band's biggest influences? I mean, I know you write most of the music, but I imagine everybody kind of comes from a different place or similar places, but, you know, everybody's got their own influences.
I mean, NoFX is, I think, sonically a big influence. Just that whole, and I say NoFX, but that whole kind of Fat Wreck sound.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I described you guys to somebody one time. I was like, they got like they sound like they be on Fat Records.
I like Fat Wreck. I don't know. You like Fat Wrecks? You're like, yeah, I like those. Can you name like 5 bands? No, not really. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they sound like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love like Ben Folds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I like sarcastic songwriting.
Yeah.
Something with a little bit of cynicism. I like songs to not just be about girls or something. Not that I haven't written plenty of those songs, but
there's nothing wrong with a good love song. Yeah, they can't all be about girls and love, but you know, I love a good love song.
I know. I go through huge periods of time where I just don't listen to music at all.
I would say I went through a period like that, but it's been quite a while. Now I listen to more music than I ever have in my life. But you know,
yeah,
part of it's because of the podcast, and then another part of it's just I've just fallen just really in love with music again in the past several years. Like I've always loved music, but the past few years my appreciation has grown for a lot of different styles of music I never really cared for before. Mm-hmm. And so I just, like I say, I'm in love with music again. So I'm always trying to play something and trying to play different stuff too.
Yeah, sometimes that helps me write things, but sometimes I just get stuck where I can't write things when I'm listening to other music. So I feel like I'm just writing that music.
Yeah, I can hear that. I usually, for me, I guess since I'm not the primary songwriter, I just get new ideas. I get ideas from all kinds of different places now. And I go, I'm going to use that. And I'll find a place to use it. If there's something I hear and I go, ooh, I like that. I'll use it and I'll kind of make it my own.
My audio app on my phone is just filled with 30-second recordings of things on keyboard. Or like, I like this chord structure. Here's a melody. It's all gibberish, but
yeah.
Then I'll listen to it and maybe it's something, maybe it's not.
I mean, because I'm always looking for ideas for stuff. And that's what, like I said earlier, when I'm just jamming in the band room and I start just jamming on these riffs, and Eric or Ben will be like, what's that? And I'll be like, well, nothing really. It's something for me because I'll use it with something that Eric writes.
You just wrote yourself an exercise, like a finger exercise.
Yeah, basically. But I take that and I go, Eric will come with a song, and then I'll be like, oh, I remember that one thing I did, and I'll figure out a way to make it fit. And it's just like new techniques and stuff I just try to come up with.
Well, especially it's got to be easier. If somebody writes a song based on something that you wrote, you already know the scale, you know all the notes, you can really embellish.
Yeah. We worked so well together that, you know, like I said, Eric brings the song. I still say that the song is written by Van Huskins because it's not a complete song until we've all put our parts to it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So
I wouldn't imagine taking credit for, you know, Kellen's rad-ass bass lines.
Yeah.
Except for the one when we play the songs that we recorded before he was part of the band, as he plays pretty much exactly what I played, so I can't get credit for that.
You tell him you can't change that either. That's my bass line. You're not changing that bass line.
There's a couple songs where he threw in some runs that I just couldn't, because I was like playing stuff and doing vocals.
Yeah.
Just certain times where I just couldn't do a 16th note run while I was singing vocals. Sorry.
Trust me, there's plenty of times when Eric will be like, okay, I want you to sing on this part. I'm like, how the fuck am I going to sing on this part? After I already wrote my part, you should have told me that before I wrote my part. And then I have to figure out a way to make it fit.
Figure it out.
Yeah. That's what Ben says. He's like, just do it. And I'm like, I can't. And he's like, no, you can. He said, just keep doing it till you can do it. And then you're going to do it. And it usually works that way somehow.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, at least when you go record, you don't have to like sing and play it at the same time. So it's like as long as you get it off the recording, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, because in live I can just like slack off with my playing a little bit or the singing.
But it is once you hear the recorded version of something, it's easier to play it live.
Yeah,
And it's easier like once you can hear it in your car 1,000 times. You're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
or if you're like me, you'll listen to it 1,000 times and you'll go, damn it, I should have done this on there. I should have done this instead. Oh well, I'm going to do it from now on.
That's why this last record took us like a month and a half to record.
Yeah, we're working on a batch of songs right now, and I want to go try to record them in January, but I don't know if we'll record all of them or just record a couple of them. But personally, I'd like to try to record them quicker. But Ben's always like, nah, let's stew on them for a little bit because they'll change over time. Like, well, it don't matter when we record it. We can record it tomorrow. We can record it next year. 2 years from now, we'll be playing it different than we recorded it. We'll have added some stuff into it or switch some things around or.
And nothing saying you can't record it now and then re-record the same song later.
Yeah, we were real guilty of that when we were younger. Like I said, when you change drummers and you got a cool song you like, you want to, well, let's record this with the new drummer.
Absolutely. We've re-recorded several songs.
Yeah. I think it's a punk rock thing. It's just, even big bands have done that.
Yeah. And, well, we didn't have the parts written at the time. Like, there's a lot of times that we go into the studio. Like I said earlier, we did it on a couple songs, like 2 songs on this album, where we really only were writing them like a week and a half, 2 weeks at a time. And I think they turned out well, so I don't care.
Yeah.
But it is bizarre to kind of just, all right, we're doing it. But it's like, we could do that again.
Oh, yeah. There's a few songs that we've got that I kind of wouldn't mind going back and re-recording now. But I'm like, at this point, I'm like, well, we've already got it documented. So next time we go to the studio, why would we waste time re-recording it? Let's just record something new. We can always play it live differently. But there's still, like, if I had unlimited time in the studio and unlimited money, I'd re-record a lot of stuff.
And I think some bands kind of set that up. Like, it depends on what you personally have going on in your bands, whatever has going on personally. And I know us, like, there's not enough money that we make at shows where it makes sense for us in our 30s and 40s to divvy up, that money between us.
Yeah.
So it's like we all just keep it. One of us keeps it. We, have an envelope that has, a bunch of cash in it. And then, after a year, it's like, okay, we got all this cash. Like, I think at the end of the day, like, that between that and merch, like, we'll pull money out if we have to buy T-shirts or something like that. But just band money.
Yeah, that's what we do.
You want to drink beer? You pay for it.
Exactly.
It's not band money.
Yeah, the band money goes for recording and stuff like that. I've got a coffee cup full of, right now it's just $1 bills. Because I put it in there just over time, and didn't spend the $1 bills. So anyway, so we've got probably $130 right now. This year's not been good for us because we haven't been playing shows. So I'm getting ready to maybe start trying to sell some merch or something so we can raise some money.
I mean, Bandcamp's been good about doing that whole Friday. They've been doing like that Friday. I think it's actually tomorrow.
No, it'll be next Friday.
Is it next Friday?
Yeah, it's the first Friday of every month. So tomorrow's the 30th.
Okay, I saw an email the other day that I deleted.
Yeah, that's been good. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot from it, but I think before next week, what I'm going to do is like do a full discography deal, and that way anybody that maybe hasn't picked it up yet that might want to try to help support us can just do that and get it all for like $10 or something, and just run that for just the rest of the year.
Yeah, I would encourage everyone just to add one of our songs onto every single one of their Spotify playlists, or just put it on and play it and walk away. Yeah. On repeat. I would love that.
Yeah, I always encourage people to put bands on playlists. Like, make a playlist that's got just local music on it, or whatever you want to, whatever playlist you want. But then listen to it, and then share it if you can, because if you can get more people to listen to that one playlist, it really helps out. But not enough people really listen to music like that these days.
Somebody made some playlist. It's called like ADHD punk rock study music or something like that, and like all these awesome bands and us. And I was like, and I think that's what we're getting the majority of our plays from right now. It's like finding this playlist.
Yeah, I wish there was like easier to get on playlists, or like I said, I wish just more people would share playlists and listen to them. A lot of people make a playlist and they listen to it themselves, and that helps, but it doesn't help quite as much as if 5 or more people listen to that playlist or whatever, however the algorithm works.
a lot of people don't understand too. Like if your friends have bands and you go on whatever you listen to music, like Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever you listen to music on, they all probably have the same feature where you can like follow a band or whatever. And that really helps, and that helps more in the algorithm, I think, than the plays do.
Yeah, I've tried to emphasize that too, but I don't think enough people actually do it. And I've went and like done that to most of them. I probably need to go and double check some bands, but a lot of my local bands I've followed on Spotify because I know it helps.
It does. Well, then it helps Spotify know that you want to know when they put new music out.
Yep.
So if you want your algorithm to give you that daily playlist or whatever that says like, hey, these are the bands that we think you like, and if you look at that every day, like, this thing sucks, it doesn't know what I like, it's because you're not going out and telling it what you like.
Yeah. You got to listen to the music and then follow the stuff.
You're like the significant other who, where do you want to go eat? I don't care, anywhere. All right, how about here? No.
And trust me, like those Spotify daily mixes that I get, I listen to those because I listen to a lot of music on Spotify, so it knows me, and I also follow a lot of bands. So every now and then it'll throw me one that's got No Anger Control and the Fill-Ins and Van Huskins.
I got some dollar signs a couple weeks ago, and I was pretty stoked on that.
So I'm always stoked when that happens, and I'm like, okay, so now you know that, but you still can't make a Van Huskins radio playlist that actually has bands that we're related to. For some reason, we can't quite crack that algorithm.
There's like a threshold on that, because we had one for a second. Like it showed us like, you know, like that whole like people who like you also like this.
Yeah.
We cracked that threshold for a moment.
I
got that.
we got like a couple of bands that are actually related, like Trash Room, and I can't remember what the other one was, but bands that we played with and stuff. But then they disappeared. I'm like, they showed up and then they disappeared. What the hell?
Yeah, because it's probably like you got some listens because you just released something, and then people stopped listening to you because they were bored with you, and then they Spotify was like, all right, we don't need to worry about a radio station for these clowns.
It's just crazy how like we have to think about all these things as musicians. Like how do we get more people to listen to us? And they've got it built in like to make it so hard to crack that algorithm. Like, I wish more people would just press play.
You gotta drink some cranberry juice on TikTok.
Yeah, sometimes it's just the randomest thing that will make a song blow up.
That's what you gotta do.
It also helps if you're Fleetwood Mac.
All right, so we went to the studio and we recorded a Fleetwood Mac cover, but I'm not gonna release it because I'm just like, I don't feel like getting sued.
Yeah.
Or
actually,
I know I can't make it legally. I can't make any money off of it.
And I've heard that before. You shared that, I get video of it or something, I believe.
Yeah. I know the video wasn't great, but it's there. It exists.
Yeah. That's one that I play that bass line in between songs at shows and stuff.
The only reason we did that cover is because I really wanted to play the bass line, but I'm not even fucking playing bass anymore.
New album's coming out on November 27th, correct?
Black Friday.
Yep. And you've already mentioned the name of it, but I've already forgotten, so you can say that
So
again.
far to go.
How many songs are on it?
10, 11.
Okay.
Oh, there's 10 songs on it, and I say there's 11 tracks. So one of the songs is just a little, I don't know, we like to write a little interlude into albums just to fuck with people, I guess. I don't know, we just like playing them.
Yeah.
But they're like, I don't know, so just little interludes.
Yeah.
And people are probably, what the fuck? Like, but, you know, I want to listen to it.
I dig what you guys are doing. It was a lot of fun to play with you guys last year, too.
Yeah, no, we were supposed to have that second show, but then, like, the world fell to shit.
Yeah.
Because that was supposed to be, like, that was like March. We were supposed to play that show in, like, it was, like, late March. We were supposed to have that show.
Yeah.
and that just didn't happen.
Yeah, a lot of shows didn't happen.
That was going to be a real good show, too.
What's that?
That was going to be a real good show.
Yeah.
It's actually very similar to our Halloween lineup.
And that was going to be what, you and Brandon the Butcher and No Anger Control?
Yeah, like No Anger Control, Brandy the Butcher.
Yeah.
That was going to be a good show.
I have not seen Brandy and the Butcher yet, but I was going to go to that show. And then, of course, the world fell apart. But No Anger Control was the last band I got to see live. They played
Cool.
Tommy's Pub on March 11th.
I think it was 2009 when we met her, and she was with Princess of the Criminals. It was her band, and they were in Greenville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we drove, and that was like way longer of a drive than I thought it was going to be, for one. We drove up there, and we played like this craft beer bottle shop kind of thing. It was a weird fucking show. There's pictures on the You, Me, and Us Facebook page somewhere, I'm sure. But it's just like, there's like pictures, like paintings, really nice paintings, like Biggie Smalls and stuff like that. Like really like as if they were like in a Victorian castle or something like that. And on place, it was craft beer and wine, and just for whatever reason, a punk show.
Mm-hmm.
In the strip mall, and I remember buying nickel bags of weed off of this dude on a bicycle, and I was finding them for like a month and a half later.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I drank, because this was before craft beer was a known commodity, and you couldn't drink them like Bud Lights.
Oh, yeah.
And I had to go with some craft beer, and I think I spent like $80 on nickel bags, apparently.
And then just forgot where to put them.
Me and my buddy Cameron slept in Corey's Jeep in front of, I think it was Tiff's house. Everyone else from the show slept at Tiff's house.
Yeah.
But me and my friend Cameron slept out in the Jeep to like watch the gear.
Yeah.
Got woken up in the morning by like the post office, by like the post, or just checking to see if we were alive or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a good night. I do declare.
So was there anything else you want to talk about with the new album that you're putting out?
I mean, no.
Okay.
I'm really proud of it. I think it's really good. There's some songs that sound like breakup songs, but they're really about me getting fired from a job.
Yeah.
So fun, see if we can figure out what those are. It's a fun album, I think. I think we've done things that people don't necessarily expect us to do, and we kind of figured out how to do the things that people do.
Yeah.
I am a really bad self-promoter.
Shit. I was just thinking of something I was going to ask you and I forgot. This is where editing comes into play. Being released by River Monster Records, so you can probably get it at both. And you're going to do a physical release as well, right? 'Cause on CD?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go pre-order it on the River Monster or the Longshot Odds Bandcamp.
And that's, what I was going to say. It's probably longshokodds.bandcamp.com, rivermonsterrecords.bandcamp.com. Support both the band, support that label as well, so Larry will keep putting shit out.
Yeah. No, I mean, because fucking Larry's the dude.
Yeah, I mean, he does the compilations on, like the free compilations on that you can download from rivermonsterrecords.bandcamp.com.
Which I actually came up with a name for.
Oh, wow.
Monster Counters.
Yeah.
That's actually me. I texted Larry the other day. I was like, am I making this up, or did I come up with that?
Where's my royalties?
No, not at all. But it dawned on me after like 7 or 8 of them. I was like, did I come up with that?
Not that you can give me royalties from a free compilation, but
yeah.
But I think I paid him for at least one of them. I like $5 for
Larry since the beginning.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Does a lot of stuff besides records. He's selling hoodies and T-shirts and shit now too. So. Was there anything else you want to talk about that I didn't think to ask you, or?
Was there anything else you forgot to ask me about?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I've got a bunch of like generic questions written down here that I could ask, but
give me some of those.
Well, like what was your first concert that you saw?
I think it was like fucking lit and garbage.
Okay, was this when you still lived in New York or when you were in?
No, yeah, this is in Binghamton. My dad worked for Time Warner Cable, and I got free tickets to the MTV Campus Invasion tour.
Yeah. Lit's all right. Garbage is all right. I'm not like huge fan.
No, Lit was actually pretty cool. Like that dude climbed like the 30-foot scaffolding and he monkey barred across it. And he's like dangling like 30 feet across the thing with one armed. It was actually kind of nuts. It looked. I was rather concerned for that man. Oh, you know what? Here, I'll give you a story let's full circle my New York to Columbia experience. Alright, so I had to remember, I was pulling out this photo album I had. I've got a bunch of flyers and crap in here. And, yeah. So this was like one of the shows I set up in New York or whatever. It was Another Day Forgotten, Cheryl's Magnetic Aura, which is fucking amazing, Purple Grip, Farrago, the MIAs, and Frank Martian.
Okay.
And the guys in Farrago are now this band called Last Point in California.
Okay.
And they're fucking awesome. And these guys in Purple Grip, I gotta be honest with you, I forget what the name of their band was, but I'm down here in Columbia playing a show. Mm-hmm. And we're just talking, shooting shit. We had this band play with us. The two of the members in this band were in Purple Grip. Purple Grip was a band from Ithaca, New York.
Yeah.
And 15 years later, I'm playing a show with two of their members.
Yeah.
And I was 15. I booked your band. So it was a really cool, like, just full circle experience for me. I forgot Farrago played this show. Gotta be honest with you. That makes me awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
If you play in bands long enough, you'll end up running across a couple of things like that. Like we've played with some bands like that we played with in. Me and Eric played with in previous, like the Accidents, and we played with in Van Huskins as well. Not from around here, like touring bands. So that happened for us. We played with a lot of people that we played with like 30 years ago, but that's because they're from this area, but not necessarily like people from New York.
When I played shows, like in or when I first started going to shows in the early 2000s, because that's like when I was in high school, because that's when you start doing that kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I felt like it was the perfect time for punk rock. It was like right when like Tony Hawk games were like
oh yeah
coming out like that. So people were just really into doing it, and it was fun. Yeah, there used to be a lot of posers at shows, but man, I wish there was more posers at shows.
It's never bothered me. I don't care. I just like people being there.
Don't you wish there was more posers at shows?
Yeah, I don't know. One thing I don't want to see more of at shows, though, the skinheads can stay away.
We've only really played one show where that happened, and that was like 15. That was not 15. It was like 10 years ago. And it was at the some place in Charleston that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, Charlotte used to have a problem with them. Apparently, like right before we came along, which is good. I'm kind of glad we weren't a part of all that. But that's the one thing I don't want to see come back, is I don't want to see those people start showing back up for shows.
The bands that we would play with in Charlotte, I feel like that crowd just wouldn't come around with.
Yeah.
Like all that, like, because I remember like the IEDs. I forget what the kid's name was, but we were at this place called SKNet Cafe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we were playing a show with them, and mid song, one of the guys from IED just like, the guitar player just like leaves stage and just goes and beats the fuck out of somebody. It was great.
Yeah. And I know like the scene has changed a lot over the years too. So like before, like in the late 80s, punk rock is a lot different than punk rock these days. So. All right, let's see. I mean, what's your favorite album of all time? If you've got one. It's an easy question for me, but
that's a dumb question.
It is. That's what I'm saying. I've got dumb questions written down.
That's one of your
one of my in case the person doesn't feel like talking, I'll be like, let's see.
What's this last album re-recorded? That's probably my favorite album of all time.
Well, there you go. That's a good answer.
Yeah,
I'd just say Black Sabbath, but that's just that's just mine.
Yeah. No, it's not a bad album, but I feel like I don't know. It depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like, music is such a visceral thing that depends on what I'm into right now. Like, if my favorite album right now I would just want to go listen to something like Fast and Loud. It would probably be like
my favorite record would probably be a punk rock compilation.
Mm-hmm.
It'd probably be like short music for short people.
Yeah. Okay.
Just give me all of it. 101 bands.
I've got that one around here somewhere.
Yeah, no, I think everyone has that record somewhere.
Yeah. So I do have a couple of like better generic questions. So what is your greatest so far? What's your greatest achievement in music?
My greatest achievement in music is finding better musicians than me to play songs I wrote.
Yeah.
That's probably my greatest musical achievement.
That's a really good answer. That's much better than mine. I'd have been like, oh, we played with CJ Ramon one time. I'd either say that or I'd be like, well, the last album we put out, that's my greatest, and the next one will be even greater.
It's finding cool dudes who are better musicians than me playing music that I wrote.
That's perfect. That's a perfect answer, actually. And so the follow up to that is, are there any goals that you still have, like things that you want to achieve that you haven't yet?
Making other people like our music as much as we do.
Yeah. Have you guys toured at all, or you just play like shows?
No.
Okay.
No. Between us, kids, wives, jobs.
Yeah. It's hard to do it at this age.
It would take a lot, I think, to really get us on the road like that. Like I think we're pretty happy going off once or twice a month on some weekends and just playing Charleston, Charlotte, Greenville, Atlanta, whatever, like the general kind of southeast area. If we can get there and back within like 6 hours, that's great.
Yeah. And that's what we like to do. I mean, mostly we play around Charlotte. We don't even really play out of town too much. That's one thing I want to do next. But I'd love to tour. I think I missed my opportunity for that really when I was younger.
Yeah,
we should have done it when we were younger.
Short of a record label all offering us, several $100,000, which, totally gonna happen.
Oh yeah, but we all have those fantasies. Like me and Ben will talk about that a lot of time. Like, man, if we could just get enough money to cover our bills for a month.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So just get over it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but that's as far as it goes because it's not gonna happen.
If that shit happens, fucking color me purple because not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen because especially not these days. You might have been able to do it back in the 90s, back in the 80s, but now.
I hope people like the record, they hear it.
Yeah.
If not, I made it to listen to in my car, so fuck y'all.
Yeah, I always say I'm the biggest Van Huskins fan there is because I don't care how many people listen to our record or how many times they listen to it. I'll play it over and over and over again, and then I'll take a break from it, and then I'll play it over and over and over again for a few days. And I
got 6 disc changer in my car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure 4 of them are me.
Yeah.
I think the other ones are like Against Me, Thrash Unreal, and I don't know what the other one is right now. Maybe there's 5 me's in there. I know one of them's Against Me because I was listening to that the other day.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, man. It's your podcast.
I'm just looking at this other question, going, do I even want to? Because it's kind of the same question, like biggest regret, like if you missed any opportunities musically, like something that you didn't do, you didn't take advantage of.
No, I got one.
Okay.
I got one. I got a regret. Regrets. I got a few.
Yeah.
No, we were on our way to Charlotte. This was with You, Me, and Us. We had booked a small, I think it was like a 2 or 3 city tour with some bands from Hellcat Records.
Mm-hmm.
And we broke down on the way to the first show, so we didn't get to any of the shows.
Yeah.
And that really, because I felt like that could have been it. That could have, especially because at that point I'm still in my late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Could have happened, maybe. Pushing it at that point. But yeah, no, I feel like that one kind of hurt.
Yeah, that would stick with me too, for sure.
Devastated, unelated, I feel betrayed and I don't want her to go, but she's packing up her things and walking out the door. And I'm deflated, self-medicated. How come I was the last one to know when I never wrote a song? But I
I was looking forward to this because I haven't done any real press before besides Riot House, and I'm like, well, I don't count that as actual like experience in talking to press, because that's just Billy. Me and Billy go out and drink beers like 2 or 3 times a week. That's just hanging out and talking with my buddy Billy.
Yeah. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy putting it together, and each one I do is a little different. Some interviews I do, it's like the conversation just rolls. And actually, whenever I've got a whole band, that actually works out usually a lot better because everybody feeds off of each other. But sometimes doing a whole band via Skype or Zoom or whatever is a little bit more difficult. That's kind of
why I told them to fuck off.
I've done it and it works, but it's a little bit more of how we talk over each other quite a bit, and we have to stop. There's a lot more of that. And then it's like a lot more awkward silences and stuff, which, I mean, there's going to be those in my interviews anyway, because I'm going to kind of let you talk until you just run out of things to say. And then it's going to be like, okay, now let me ask you the next question.
Yeah, well, I feel like switching to the Facebook or whatever was a good idea.
It was an excellent idea. This is much better.
Yeah.
And the thing is in the past, I've actually had better luck with Zoom, and actually Skype seems to work the best. And Facebook Messenger works okay, and this one's been great. But I've done a couple of them where the audio wasn't that great. But again, that could be like a myriad of different factors.
That's probably more on their end as far as
that's what I was going to say.
Technological capabilities or whatever.
I think a lot of times that just has to do with, do you have a good connection? What, where you're at and stuff like that. So, but I always, no matter what I end up with, I always find a way to work with it. And I also find a way to keep the technical difficulty stuff kind of in the podcast as well. Just to kind of tell a little bit of a story and put a little bit of background stuff.
Oh, I've heard you freak out on your audio situation before.
Oh man, I create bad situations for myself with the podcast, just because when I record them in person, I just set the mics up and go, don't worry about sitting on the mic, just sit back and we'll talk. And then I go back and start editing. I'm like, God damn, I should have told them to stay on the mic. But you said you had a couple other things you wanted to talk about.
No, I just kind of wanted to keep talking to you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you had like something in particular.
No, I really wanted to pee, but I didn't want to just be like, all right, I gotta go because I gotta pee. I wanted to finish this conversation. What have you been doing during quarantine besides this?
Band practice. I've been working the whole time.
You got any new skills?
Not really. I got a MIDI controller, and I bought a 61 key Yamaha keyboard that I found at the thrift store for $15. And
nice.
So my thing that I was going to do was I was going to start.
That's how it starts, man.
I was going to start playing around with that, and I was going to learn how to play, and I was going to add some keys to some Van Husken songs, and I haven't had time at all to mess around with it. So, like, this MIDI controller sitting right here in front of me, just waiting to be played with. And
hold on, what you need? I got this sheet at my local music store. It's like this little piano chord chart. It just like piano. It just says piano chords, and you need something like this. And I just have this. I have this one sitting over right on top of my keyboard.
Yeah.
And I'll just walk over and I'll just like mash 5 keys. And if it sounds good, I'll figure out what 5 keys I just mashed. And I'm like, oh, that's a E flat major.
But it's something I definitely want to start messing around with. I've had like, besides the podcast, so I'm supposed to be doing a zine, and I've written I've written most of the reviews. I've got a handful I need to write still. So I need to finish up the next issue of the zine. I've been like rearranging my whole living space up here. You can see like part of it, but the other half of it's a mess. And so I'm trying to like set up sort of like a studio in this area. So I've got like all these different projects going on. And so the keyboard thing that I was going to learn to do, and all these songs I was going to record, I wanted to record a version of Unchained Melody. I wanted to do my own version of that. And I started learning the song, and then I just didn't have time for it anymore. And I know that a lot of times I sit around here and I don't do anything, but I feel like I just need some downtime as well. But that's I haven't learned any really new skills. I've just like honed the skill of my editing and stuff with the podcast during this time.
I gotta change my answer for my biggest regret.
Okay.
my biggest regret is that we never performed our cover of I Would Do Anything for Love, but I Won't Do That. I think that's my biggest regret.
Hey, Meatloaf is awesome. So
we practiced it for a long time, and it was a really good cover.
This band or me, you and us?
No, Longshot Odds. I don't know why we never played it. I think we just couldn't book any shows. I think nobody wanted it. I just don't think anyone wanted to have us play shows.
Well, then that can be your.
I've always felt like we're very underdoggy, which is why the name fits.
Yeah. Was there any other reason for the name, or just somebody come up with that and you just thought it sounded good? And...
No, I mean I came up with it. I was like, I checked it out. I was like, nobody else is using it.
Yeah.
I can get all the usernames, and I registered for all like the Gmail accounts and Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff before. Like I think Twitter's the only one I have to have like an underscore between long shots and odds. Because, like, I think there's some, like, horse racing.
Yeah, I was going to say some kind of gambling thing or whatever.
But I love the imagery that we can use with Longshot Odds. It just feels like... And we're just... For, like, you know, Kellen's a firefighter. JJ's a substitute teacher. I'm just a bartender, mostly. Corey is a delivery driver. He stocks grocery stores bread, and we're a relatively blue collar band.
Yeah,
and we've never tried to fake our punk rock cred. We're not going to be the band that shows up in Misfits leather studded.
Yeah,
and that's cool. I love those kids.
Yeah,
but that would be fake if I did that.
Yeah, back when we were so back in the 90s, when me and Eric played in the Accidents, there were a bunch of kids in the scene that came out that were like, I don't want to say fashion punks, because that makes it sound bad, but, you know, that got into the fashion side of it, the bondage pants and all that shit. And it's like, you know, we were always just wore T-shirts and jeans or whatever we wanted to wear, and I never felt bad. I mean, it's like, I didn't feel left out, but I also didn't feel like they were being posers or anything. I just thought that's what they wanted to do, and it wasn't my thing.
No, dude, I miss the posers.
Yeah.
At least people were coming to shows back then.
That's true.
Like, when I remember playing shows back, like I was saying, those early punk rock picnics we were playing, and it was, these kids were showing up in their leather and studs and bondage pants, and they're pulling up in a brand new Mercedes.
Yeah.
Cool kid, and they're teenagers. They're not, you know, it's definitely some mommy and daddy money.
Oh yeah, but yeah. I've been really, really hoping that all this stuff would start to go away, because I was hoping earlier this year that by now we'd be able to play shows, and because I miss it. I really do miss it.
Yeah,
I love getting together and jamming and writing new songs and doing everything we're doing now, but I miss playing shows a lot.
Well, we got kind of lucky just based on the fact that we were supposed to start recording this album in January.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy Corey that we used to record, he had a studio in his home, and he started building, like, basically some point last year. He's like, I'm building a new studio on my property, and he built like one of those like corrugated metal buildings.
Yeah,
he put like one of those on his property. It's like 5,000 square feet, and he built this thing, but it took longer, and then all of a sudden COVID happened, so it takes even longer.
Yeah.
And so we went from what we thought was just going to record like I think we were originally just going to record 3 songs in January to a full-length album in July, you know. Mm-hmm. We started recording in the last week of July, and we ended in September, in the first week of September. But even in like mid-July, I'm still like adding songs. I was like, all right, Kel, like don't, and I was like, don't tell JJ, like, this is gonna be the thing, and like, but you're gonna play a second bass line here. Don't worry about it. Just write it. Don't worry about it. And we get in the studio, and like, there's definitely times where they were like giving me looks like, what the fuck are you doing? And then like the album, like, it's all put together, and I'm like, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I was getting a little on the keyboards. I'm like, there's 4 string parts here, and all right, now me and Kellen are gonna play trombone and trumpet. It's like you know that scene in Walk Hard where he's like, learn to play the fucking theremin. I was kind of getting there. Yeah.
So you said like you only had like 3 songs ready to go earlier this year, and then so COVID happened. You guys were not able to play shows, and you just wrote a whole bunch of new songs. I think that's what a lot of people are doing these days, though. It's just like
No, I just didn't think we'd have songs ready. I just didn't think the songs that we had would be ready to go. And
Okay.
like, oh. And then there were songs that were definitely written in that time frame, because we released that Circle the Drain record. We released that last July, like the beginning of July, and like I said, I use that iPhone like record app.
yeah,
all the time.
we've done that.
The majority of I record almost every band practice. Like the majority of data used on my phone is just that app.
Yeah,
Just recording hours and hours of things. The day that record came out, I was actually I just drove by myself down to Sonoya, Georgia, which is the town they filmed The Walking Dead in.
okay.
So I just drove down there by myself, rented an Airbnb, sat in a coffee shop, waited for the record to come out, just brought my guitar, and I started writing the next record that day. The day the record came out, I started writing the next record.
Yeah.
And sometimes they write themselves.
In a way, yeah.
If they fight me, if the song fights me, I just stop writing it.
Yeah.
And then I'll leave it. And then some of the songs on this last record I've been writing for 15 years. But like, if a song fights me, I give up on it. If it doesn't feel right, I just let it go.
We've had a couple of songs where I felt like we were trying to force something that really wasn't working, and we don't play them anymore. We just stop playing them. It only takes about 3 practices to go, yeah, that one's not working anymore. Let's just skip that. We'll maybe pick it up one day down the road.
Yeah. At any given point, I've got 10 different songs that I could be writing, but I'm just like, one of those songs will write itself at the point that when something happens. I'm gonna assume I'll have some like super brutal song about being a dad or something like that at some point.
One thing I'm thinking about doing is once I get to about a year on this podcast, which will be in December, I'm thinking about slowing it down a little bit and maybe doing an episode every other week or something. Because I've really got to start finding more time to do some things like that. Like I've got all these ideas. Like I said, every practice I come up with these ideas for songs, and I just have not had a chance to really sit down and write something.
Here's an idea for you. And this is totally self-serving because it helps me too. And you'll see why in a moment. Every year, you kind of like look back at some of the artists you had, and if it's realistic, try to have like some sort of show in Charlotte, like Gabba Gabba Fest.
Yeah, I've thought about that. That's definitely something
cool.
Down the road. Kind of. Cool. But I've thought about starting to do like shows when we can have shows again. And this is something I was wanting to do this year, but then everything fell apart. But like Gabba Gabba Hunt Presents, and then like I book shows. But to maybe make a festival in a year or two, that might be kind of cool to do.
I think, well, like that sounds like a super rad time.
Get up, get down, get in, get out, just get out of my head. Well, I'm sick of feeling like a victim. When I made the bed, I lie in. Well, you can wipe that look off your face and replace it with a new one. One so they can see right through ya. I need a better way. Well, now these voices inside my head are filled with loathing and bad intent. No, it's not who I'm supposed to be. I need a better way. I need a better way. A better version of me. That's like a version of me. Within a version of me. Within a version of. Shut up, shut down, shut them all up, shut the door behind you. When observe them through the window, when it's much safer there. Well, all this, what is, what was, what could have been, never gets an answer. They want shiny, new and faster. They're holding on to it. Well, now these voices inside my head
Chris Piegler was one of the most influential people in my life.
Yeah.
As far as meeting him, and the time I met him, he was the most supportive. You can watch, like, you can find any video of my band playing in Charlotte, and you will find Chris Piegler in that video right up front.
Yeah.
And it's like walking past the camera or something like that. Like, he was the dude. He just made shit happen, and
he did, and he was, and we've talked about him a little bit before on the podcast. I'll talk about him a lot more in the near future. I'm going to be talking to a guy that used to play the band. This has been a Gabba Gabba Hunt Media production.